Why I chose to leave the church today, on a new year, after almost 20 years of being a member. Hi brothers and sisters in Christ, may the Lord's peace, mercy, and grace be with you. Today, on a new year, I decided to gracefully exit the church after almost 20 years of being a member. As I left 2023, I also finally closed those pages in my book that includes my prime years of being in the church as a teenager up to now being in my mid-30s. There are many objectively valid factors that influenced my decision, with all of them pertaining to the fundamentals of the church's belief and affairs. But for the sake of brevity, still a very long read, sorry, I'll just include the major ones in this post and the other ones on separate succeeding posts. Here they are. The misguided halal doctrine. The basis of forbidding the members to consume halal meat was established on a flimsy foundation that won't withstand the strong winds of proper scrutiny. Nagpapatupad sila ng isang major na pagbabawal na hindi man lang naintindihan and later on intentionally ayaw intindihin ang fundamentals nito, either due to pride, or concerns of possible backlash. The presidents themselves of the Halal Certifiers IDCP and One Halal Global, explicitly stated that in any form, there is no offering to their Allah involved while slaughtering the animals. There ain't even any proper prayer involved, only the single phrase, Bismillahi Allahu Akbar, which is a declaration of intention and asking permission of taking an animal's life. Sabi pa nga ng president ng One Halal Global na in essence, parang katulad lang din yan sa atin ng pagsasabi ng, God bless, that is, it's just a phrase, spoken in earnest yet, not in a prayerful manner. And to shatter our pitiful perception of fast food and market meat being halal and, prayed over, phrasing these words are even only mostly done on small-scale slaughters and the butcher doesn't even have to be a Muslim to phrase it. It's pretty commonsensical that the big mass production meat slaughterhouses don't strictly require a Muslim employee to be the butcher, and most certainly Katoliko or Protestante pa rin ang mga nagkakatay niyan. And to top it all, a single mass production meat and poultry farm slaughters tens to hundreds of thousands of animals on a daily basis. Do you really think that they phrase, Bismillahi Allahu Akbar, on each one of them when as per the Muslims themselves, there ain't even any consequences of not phrasing it, as long as it met the hygiene and quick killing standards they set. Hindi din pwede mas phrasing yan ng isahan, gamit ang speaker, di valid yan according to them. Now some might say, pero bro, pinalanginan pera nila yun at iba ang Diyos nila, kaya Diyos-Diyosan rin yun dahil ating Diyos lamang ang totoo. Bro, sis, so kung nagsalo-salo kayo sa mga kaibigan, katrabaho, kasintahan, o kapamilya niyong hindi kapatid at sila ang nag-lead ng prayer, di nyo na rin kakainin niyang pagkain dahil ipinagdasal na nila niyang mga di kakapanampalataya, hence sa ibang Diyos nila ipinagdadasal. Mga kapatid, let's do ourselves a favor and let's stop fooling and agonizing ourselves. Pinapahirapan niyo po ang mga kapatid at laging binibigyan ng alinlangan dahil sa bagay na di nyo naman po pala lubos na intindihan. Naawa ako sa kanila kasi they only follow you blindly. You cause them to give up their critical thinking. The unnecessarily long gatherings, 3.5 to 4 hours of prayer meeting and worship service and 7 to 8 hours of Thanksgiving, 3 times a week, with the actual church leaders preaching being only around 1.5 to 2 hours and where the essence of the topic can supposedly be delivered in only around 15 to 30 minutes. The rest being AVPs, redundant topic reaction, and the corny, campy, and cheesy 1-hour recap that nobody even asked for anyway in the first place and where all of it could have been played during break time and the recap itself could have been axed entirely and nobody would have cried a river for it. Added to the fact na ay isa-isahin pa ng mention ang napaka-long list ng mga nagpapasalamat na iba't ibang divisions and groups at may breaks pa na speech ni Brother Jossel in between. We get it, they are giving thanks to the Lord and we're happy for them, but quite frankly, we don't mind about it that much para isa-isahin pa ng mention and mentioning all of them one by one is just already an unnecessary filler and lengthener. It could have been replaced with a movie style and credits roll and nobody would complain at mas narerespeto pa natin ang oras ng mga kapatid. Karamihan po sa amin mga dukha lang o may mga ibang commitment rin sa buhay. Kailangan din po naming magtrabaho, mag-aral, at mag-aruga ng aming sambahayan. May mga pangarap din po kami sa buhay na nais naming makamit at may mga pamilya din po kaming dapat alagaan. Kayo pong mga higher ups sa church, dyan na po kasi kabuhayan nyo so you have all the time in the world for lengthy church affairs. Kaya nga sa lokal naming forced na ang face-to-face gatherings, from time to time tumatambay na lang ang mga kapatid sa labas. Kitang-kita kasi sa mukha nila ang pagkahapu at pagkabagot. Sino ba naman makakip ng concentration pag ganyan? We secretly ask for empathy from you, na respetuhan din sana ang oras namin, yet we sadly can't voice it out, and expect any reform because you immediately resort to gaslighting and guilt-tripping. Aba ay iba na diwa mo brad ah. Feels like North Korea on that part to be honest. The current church leader and soul preacher just doesn't hit the spot. The way he preaches, he beats around the bush, daming paligoy-ligoy at paikot-ikot lang sa essence ng topic. He frequently uses known words like, ganito, ganyan, ganire, si ano, si ganyan, ayaw konkretong letrahan ang examples or ang ibig sabihin. Napaka-vague magsalita. And speaking of examples, he only always used Tagalog Bible jargons na nababasa lang niya at ayaw bakupan ng real-life examples and scenarios that members can relate, which quite frankly, ang hirap e-follow lalo na sa aming mga hindi native Tagalog speakers. He almost always fails to convert the abstract into something relatable and associative in our daily lives. Malayo ni Bro Eli magsaysay na hindi boring at madaling intindihin. Added to the fact na wala talagang gaanong sustansya ang preaching niya. It's like a 1-hectare pond with only 1 inch deep. He downplays and belittles the monetary offerings of the members. Yung inabuloy mo kung susumin mula nung pinakaunang hulog mo hanggang ngayon, makapagpatayo ba yan ni poste man lang? Panipi tuldok. Pasensya na po Bro Daniel, karamihan sa amin dukha lang po, nagpapadyak lang, naglalako ng pagkain, nagtatricycle, at iba pang mga pangdukhang kabuhayan. Pero sa Mark 12:41-44 po, mas ikinatutuwa po ni Kristo ang offering mo na kahit maliit lang, pero binigay mo naman ang sagad ng iyong makakaya ng tao sa iyong puso. A true messenger of God addresses issues accordingly and doesn't resort to argumentum ad hominem. Nanghahamak pa ng mga underemployed. Kesyo graduate daw sa kurso niya pero naglalako na lang ng encyclopedia or nag-a-announcer sa bingo sa peryahan. Sorry po, hindi po lahat nabiyayaan ng equal opportunity. Cut them some slack for Christ's sake. At the end of the day, namumuhay po sila ng marangal at walang piniperwisyong tao at binubuhay nila pamilya nila sa paraang kanilang nakakaya. I'm sorry Bro Daniel, I just can't take it. As a preacher who professes to be the real messenger of God in these end times, nilalagay ka supposedly sa mas higher standard. And such unempathetic words are unbecoming of a self-professed, God's messenger. And I'm sorry, I just don't think you're that man and you have that gift. Hindi mo nga maipagpatuloy ng basa ang part ng unang Pedro 3-15 na lagi kayong handa ng pagsagot sa bawat tao na humihingi sa inyo ng katwiran tungkol sa pag-asang nasa inyo. I get it, sabi mo iba kayo ng kaloob ni Bro Eli kaya di mo gagawin ang pangangaral sa labas gaya ng ginawa niya. Pero my goodness, kahit sa mga kapatid na lang po sana. Ayaw nyo ng inquiries, ayaw nyong mahinga ng clarification, at ayaw nyo ng healthy discussion between you and the ordinary members. A real messenger of God has a mouth and wisdom which all his adversaries will not be able to contradict or resist, Luke 21:15. Paano mo mapatutuhanan yan kahit sa kapwa-kapatid na lang nga, ayaw niyong makonsult? The sexual abuses and the sweeping of it under the rug for the sake of the church's reputation. Been a lurker here for around 2+ months and as I dig through and further, I uncovered skeletons in the church's closet that my conscience really can't tolerate to go on this path any further. I read this confession of a young sister and her horrible experience of being repeatedly sexually abused by her own freaking pedophile of a father who also was a church officer, while she was still a KNC. Tandang padamdam, and other terrible stories from our young sisters who were sexually molested at nung nadiskubre, sinuspenso lang ang salarin at pinagtabunan sa publiko para di masira ang reputasyon ng iglesia. The true Church of God doesn't sweep major sins like this under the rug. Instead, Not only do they excommunicate the suspect, but they also go as far as aiding the victims in filing criminal cases to the court, especially as the suspect was also a member within the church, because they truly love and empathize the poor sisters. This issue is very personal to me as I also have a first-degree cousin whom I see as my own younger sister, and she was sexually abused by her own father. Pinaglaban talaga namin yun. Kaya zero tolerance talaga ako sa ganito. Parting thoughts. Sadly, with all things being said, and considering all the gaslighting and guilt-tripping the members received when they speak up and ask for inquiry, transparency, and improvement, I just don't see any reforms being performed by the church in the foreseeable future. Their unwillingness to change for the better leads me to believe that this is no longer the true church as described in the Bible. They initially claimed they are anyway in the first place by appropriating the teachings that were written in the Bible. Di ba ang totoo ay makikilala sa turo? I don't believe anymore that this is it. Perhaps the only true Church of God started during the ministry of Jesus Christ himself and concluded in the 1st century with the passing of the final true disciple.